Tosche Station to pick up some power converters.
Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. Well, yeah, we got two episodes. Two episodes of Bad Batch, and yeah, they haven't missed yet. They have not missed at all. Two really just quality episodes, and well, I'm about to get into it. So, hey Chewie, punch it. All right, let's get started. So, the episode opens as we see Rex trailing a senator, Senator Singh, from 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 season one, and as they're going to a secret meeting place, we see what is being dubbed as a shadow clone is tracking them. The next thing we see is Hauser's on watch as Greer, a whom we haven't met yet, says that the inside's clear. Uh, the droid is worried, and the senator is shown again to be a senator that we met in season one of the Bad Batch. As he's escorted in, there's some dialogue, basically that the emperor is starting to get a little worried that an uprising of people on Raxus, which is Senator Singh's planet, and other planets, uh, is about to start happening, and this is kind of a precursor to the uh, Rebel Alliance. So I thought that was a neat little thing that we got to see early on. The Shadow Clone in, infiltrates the building, taking out Greer, um, as as Hauser alerts Rex uh, as Hauser alerts Rex that the Shadow Clone has entered the building. They escape as Rex and Hauser pursue. They end up stunning him. They have to stun him like 5 or 6 times for him to finally go down, and then they take him hostage. As they're on their way back to the base, they find an encrypted data puck that's got a bunch of secret stuff on it. Very very hard to decrypt. So once they get back to Teth, actually, quick little note: the base that they're on, like I said, it's Teth. For those eagle-eyed viewers, that's the base that we see in the Clone Wars movie from way back in the day, from the 2008 Clone Wars movie. So Rex has been using that as a base of operations, for his, I guess, his clone rebellion, I'll call it. And when we get there, we see Fireball, which we saw last season, and a few other clones that Rex has managed to rescue. Just like the Shadow clone we saw last season, his his ID number has been erased, and but they managed to erase, or remove rather, the electric cyanide pill from his mouth before he could take it. And this time around, the clone won't talk. Rex tries to get through to him, but still this shadow clone just refuses to talk. Next thing we see is Scorch activates another shadow clone to go find the one that Rex and Hauser captured. As we get back to Rex, he tells the clone that he knows about Tantus, as Hauser pulls him aside and implores Rex to go after him just a little bit harder, as they finally decrypt the data puck, finding out that Omega and the Senator were both targets of the Shadow clone. Hauser wants the Bats to get involved, mostly Crosshair, because he doesn't trust him, and that's going to be just like last week. It's going to be a recurring theme of this episode. Hauser just not trusting Crosshair, which I thoroughly enjoyed in this episode. But anyways, Rex tells Hauser that Echo's already done that. And he's got all the information that he can out of Crosshair. But like I said, Hauser just doesn't care. He doesn't trust him at all, and he just wants to interrogate Crosshair for himself because of their history with what happened to him and his squad on Ryloth when Crosshair was with the Empire. We cut to Echo bringing the batch to Teth as Echo tells them that he's going to go get Gregor after they drop him off. As the batch arrives, Hauser is, well, I'll say less than pleased to see Crosshair, and he blames Crosshair for his squad being killed on Ryloth, as well as just everything that happened on Ryloth. Rex tells Hauser to stand down as he's starting to get a little heated. And as them and the Bad Batch go to the base, as he's leaving, Echo gives Omega a new energy crossbow, and I think aesthetically it looks a little bit better than the one she had before. And as they enter the base, we see that the Shadow Clone lands on Teth and starts going towards the base. As the batch comes into the base, Hunter notices Rex's numbers have grown since the last time we saw him. As Rex tells Hunter that Omega is being hunted by the Empire. Hauser thinks Crosshair is lying about what he's telling him, and then he's feeding information to the Empire as Hauser tells Crosshair that he doesn't trust him. Then Rex asks Omega what kind of experiments they were doing on Tantus, as she elaborates on the M-count experiments and that everyone was getting their blood sampled, including her. And the curious thing is Rex remembers the term M-count, or at least something like that, with his time with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and the rest of the Jedi that he helped throughout the Clone Wars, but he can't exactly be sure. The next thing we see is the Shadow Clone is going through the base, setting charges, essentially being a ninja, not making a single sound. As Omega tells Rex about the clones still in Tantus. As Fireball comes in with food, Crosshair tells them about the Shadow Clone program, that they tried to make him into a Shadow Clone, but was able to withstand it thanks to his modifications. And I've got a theory about the Shadow Clone program that I'm going to get into at the end of the episode. Rex then tells them that they were able to capture one, as we see Crosshair kind of start panicking, telling him that Hemlock's a lot smarter than that. He's tracking them, and that it's a tracker that they wouldn't be able to pick up, as we see the other Shadow Clone getting deeper and deeper in the base until he's actually in the same command center room that they're in. And the only one that really picks up on it is Batcher, because he can smell him, and his senses are going all over the place, while Omega settles him down and gives him his food. The clone leaves, and as he does so, he starts remotely detonating the charges, telling Scourge that Omega is there, as Hunter, Rex, and Crosshair question the clone. Crosshair Crosshair tells them that they need to leave as this shadow clone starts to taunt them and specifically Crosshair. Shadow clone, uh, the other shadow clone ends up cutting the power and sets off the detonators. The second shadow clone kills the first one as he pushes everybody back into the furthest command room. We see Fireball get killed along with a few other clones, thanks to the detonators being set off. And the last thing that we see is we see a battalion of stormtroopers led by Wolf to come take out the insurgents and take Omega alive, which then brings us into episode 7. As we open on the Shadow Clone coming out of the rubble with the base in ruins, we next see Rex, Hunter, and the rest of the Bad Batch and Hauser finding another way out. Rex tells them that their vessel isn't far. Hauser pipes in, saying that it doesn't have a hyperdrive and they won't get very far. But Rex tells them we don't need to get far. We just need to contact Echo. Next thing we see is Wolf making contact with the Shadow Clone as he remarks that these insurgents are clones and he's wondering why they're attacking them. Wolf then questions the Shadow Clone's tactics, asking him why he used force when he should have been stunning them and simply taking the target, Omega, alive. Wolf then orders Hilo, the clone commander that's with him, and his troops to set everything to stun and to not kill Omega. Wolf tells them to seal the passageway as the Shadow Clone goes rogue and goes after Rex and the rest of the Bad Batch. Wolf and the operatives go around the other way to box the Bad Batch in. We see Rex and the Bad Batch going towards the ship. Crosshair notices they're being followed and notices he's being followed, and he decides to give chase to distract him. Now, this part I found very, very interesting. He elects to hold off the Shadow Clone as the rest of them retreat. And as we've seen in prior episodes so far this season, Crosshair can't shoot straight. His hands are haywire. He can't. He's hitting like half of his targets. He can't shoot like he has been. So what he does is he uses a thermal charge, and shoots it at the Shadow Clone, which knocks him off a ledge and off balance. The reason I think that's significant is because he can't shoot straight, yet the Shadow Clone can. Still, gonna get to that theory at the end when I talk about my thoughts of the episode. But just keep that in mind. So the Shadow Clone is able to survive, and Crosshair gets a few shots off, but as expected, he misses. I think he misses all of them, if not most of them. As the rest of them make it to the escape shuttle in time, the Shadow Clone catches back up to him and takes down the shuttle as they take off. Rex sends the transmission to Echo to rescue them as they're crashing. Wolf tells Hilo to pinpoint the crash site as Wolf reprimands the Shadow Clone again for using force, almost killing Omega in the crash. They all survive the crash as Crosshair checks on Omega. Crosshair makes this part actually kind of got me. Crosshair makes a remark that he's much worse than Hunter in regards to being a space dad, which I actually found kind of funny that we got to that point in Crosshair's story arc, that he's officially now part of the Space Dad crew with Hunter and Wrecker. I just think that's funny that they're essentially just space dads. That's really all they are if you really break it down. And anyways, As they're making their way to as they're making their way through the forest, um, escaping the Imperials begin to give chase. Hauser confronts Crosshair about what changed since Ryloth. Crosshair tells him that loyalty means a lot to him, but it didn't mean that much to the Empire, and he realized how expendable he truly was, and uh, as he then goes on to tell Hauser that he wasn't the only clone that was expendable to them, or as I misspoke, as Hauser goes on to tell him that that Crosshair wasn't the only one that was expendable to the Empire. The Shadow Clone continues to track them through the forest as Hunter and Badger both hear the Imperials ambush them from above. They use smoke grenades and stun guns to make their way through the Imperials to the to the extraction point. As the Shadow Clone targets Crosshair again and attacks them. The Shadow Clones have got something against Crosshair. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty wild. They're literally just taking him on and not really going after anybody else. So this fight, which I found very interesting, was the first fight of the season that I felt like had some real stakes to it. Like there was a couple times where I thought that they might actually kill Crosshair here, and the footage that we saw later in the season was were fake outs because I mean that fight was getting pretty intense at some points. Uh Crosshair almost drowned about like two or three different times. It's really it's really crazy. And actually, Hauser ends up being the one to save Crosshair at the last minute as the Shadow Clone goes over a waterfall, and that's that's the last we see of him. As Wolf and the Imperials confront Rex, Bad Batch, and Hauser. This is the first time that Wolf has seen Rex in it seems like years. Um, um, Wolf thinks, or at least thought, that that Rex was dead, that he died after Order 66, that he was reported KIA, that he crashed on the planet, and Rex tells him, "Yeah, you're like 90% right on that, but I'm not dead, so here I am." And he really goes in on Wolf and tells him that he knows him very, very well, and that him hunting a child is not him, and and Rex tells Wolf that he knows deep down, you know, you're doing the wrong thing, so let us go. And as Echo and Gregor show up to come get them, Wolf tells his troops to stand down as we see them escape. The next thing we see is the Shadow Clone. This dude just will not die. It's insane. He just doesn't know how to die. He comes like a zombie coming out of the waterfall, half alive. And the episode closes between a conversation with Rex and Hunter. Rex laments on the fact that they're losing more brothers now than ever, even compared to what was going on during the Clone Wars. As Hunter tells Rex that he can't keep this fight up, that he needs to stop it. As Rex tells him he can't. I don't care how strong the Empire is. I can't let more of our brothers die. As Hunter promises to guard Omega with his life, Rex urges Hunter to find out why they want Omega on Canthus so bad, and then the episode ends. Like I said, overall, I really, really enjoyed these two episodes. It continues to play on the whole dynamic of the rest of the clones that we've met not trusting Crosshair, that the process of him having to essentially gain their trust back, everybody's trust back. And I really liked that they've been humanizing him a lot over this season, which I don't think bodes well for him. I really don't think it's going to mean good things. But the theory that I've got with the Shadow Troopers in Crosshair's hands, I think they're related. So my theory is that since we now know they tried to make him into a shadow clone, what they did is they actually extracted some of his blood, some of his DNA, and somehow I don't know. I know somehow Palpatine turned, but that's what I'm going with. They were able to transfuse his ability into the shadow clones. Like his perfect shooting, they gave that ability to the rest of the shadow clones. So I think that might be why Crosshair can't shoot straight, and that what made him isn't there anymore. Is because that trait got taken from him and passed on to the shadow clones. Overall, I think I mean, like I said, I've enjoyed every single episode this season. They have not missed. It's been tension's been up here the whole time. It's just been just banger after banger after banger after banger so far, and I think it's going to keep coming next week. I think we might see Ventress next week. At least that's what I'm hoping. Or we might get the heist episode that we saw in the trailer that spoiled Crosshair's return. Either way, I just think like I said last week, I just think this season's just gonna the tension's just gonna keep ratcheting up until May 1st. And when things end, I don't think they're gonna be pretty. So yeah, overall, just two really quality episodes. Again, I really love what they're doing with Crosshair. I really love that they're humanizing him and making him kind of have to pay for his sins, in a matter of speaking. And I really think that's going to, think that's really going to pay dividends later on in the season. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. And well, until next time, may the force be with you.